It's because they don't know the truth. So that's what I can offer. I don't have all the solutions, but I can offer a few details, a few pieces of truth.
She don't know if he even was able to see anything. And then the red wig, let me play it again. Red wig at the end. Listen to what she said.
I don't even know if he actually saw anything.
Because he had his back to her.
How you know that, red wig? Nobody told you on the show. You getting ahead of the script, red wig. You getting ahead of the script. You wasn't supposed to say that yet. Other words, red wig is so eager to be a ride or die that she said, Joni, I'm going to just throw in something in there.
Of course, what is precious is his word, and the words that we speak. Are they his words? Are they words of doubt and unbelief?
The woman behind the infamous red wig persona is none other than Anna Kendall. With a sharp tongue and a commanding presence, she is known for her fiery temperament and unwavering confidence. Whether she's speaking her mind or taking charge in ministry settings, one thing is certain, Anna Kendall is a firecracker.
Of the year. And so I've been doing this work for over 35 years. I have taken more masturbation porn histories than any man on the planet, bar none.
Wait, before we continue, this video dives into the stories of two supposed truthful and faithful marriage therapists, the Kendall family.
Now I want to brag on Anna before we get started. She wouldn't say this about herself.
And Dr. Doug Weiss.
I've been doing this work for over 35 years.
Stay tuned, because we're about to reveal a lot more than you might expect.
Now I want to brag on Anna before we get started. She wouldn't say this about herself, but to tell you a glimpse of her ability and her quality. Listen to this. This is remarkable. She was the personal executive assistant for Mary Kay Ash, and almost every lady out there knows who that is. Legendary figure who was the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. And I would put Anna on the spot, but I'm not. I would ask her if she's wearing any Mary Kay today, but I want to ask her. You don't have to answer that.
Anna Kendall, alongside her husband Fred Kendall, co-founded Life Languages, a company dedicated to helping individuals and organizations improve communication and relationships. Their system claims to provide deep insights into personal and professional interactions, shaping how people understand and connect with one another.
What in the world are the life languages?
All right. Well, the life languages are actually communication styles. And God gave us all the 7 life languages, or the 7 communication styles from Romans 12.
So we all have the 7, but
Yes.
just in different orders or
Descending
degrees.
order. That's
Okay.
right.
We've had people all over the world, all 7 continents, call us, contact us, primarily email.
It was only a matter of time before Fred Kendall earned the nickname Fred Wig, following in the footsteps of his wife, Anna, who's widely known as Red Wig. Viewers of Daystar TV recognize them both, but the bigger question remains. How did this couple become so deeply embedded in Joni Lamb's inner circle? What role did they play behind the scenes? And how much influence did they truly have? Let's uncover the connections that brought them into the heart of the Daystar empire.
Back, Miss Anna.
All right.
To marrying Fred Kendall.
Okay.
The Marine.
Meet Melanie Contreras, a former Daystar TV insider who is now speaking out.
It's because they don't know the truth. So that's what I can offer. I don't have all the solutions, but I can offer a few details, a few pieces of truth.
She worked for the Kendalls as a senior certified trainer for about 15 years. Her ex-husband Greg Brondo was the head of IT for Daystar, and the guy who discovered the salacious correspondence between Marcus Lamb and his mistress Janice Smith, who was also a Daystar employee.
Greg told me that he had been asked to remove an email that was sent mistakenly. It was supposed to go to Janice, and it went to Joni instead. And being that they both had J names, it was a mistake. By Marcus.
By Marcus.
Marcus, yes.
So he
Marcus.
mistakenly sent an email to his wife that was meant for his mistress.
Correct.
Big
And
oops.
yes. So Greg explained to me that because it was intra-office, that if an email hadn't been opened yet by the receiver, that he could pull it back. And this is what he was explaining to Marcus. And if it had already been opened, that he couldn't pull it back. So on this occasion, he was able to pull it back. And so, he thought, no harm, no foul, whatever. And then like a week or two passed by, whatever the time period was, and he got another call from Marcus saying, can you do it again? He had made the mistake again, so can you do it again? And when Greg went to look, he couldn't, because it had already been open. And then there was already a response. And then they were in an argument about the inappropriateness of that email. And that email was basically harmless. It was just talking about that Janice looked really pretty that day. It didn't say anything, crazy.
In a powerful, in-depth interview with journalist Julie Roys, Melanie Contreras pulls back the curtain on a story that went from whispers behind closed doors to national headlines. With first-hand experience inside Daystar TV, she reveals the hidden truths, manipulations, and cover-ups that many never saw coming. What really happened behind the scenes? Melanie's testimony sheds light on a scandal that continues to shake the faith community.
I take the responsibility, and I feel very regretful, but I was the one who sent Marcus and Joni to the Kendalls. And
Yeah, talk about how that came to be.
Details are still being revealed a decade and a half later.
well, he looked through a few of them, and he immediately told Greg, I want you to make me 3 printed copies, 3 CD copies, and 3 thumb drive copies. And he said, we're going to put them in the safe. And he said, because people like that need to be held to accountability, and just in case we ever have to write the book, kind of with a wink and a little chuckle. And
Write the book.
yeah.
Well, Marcus had this affair several years ago, and when Joni confronted him, they reached out to Fred and Anna Kendall, who have been counseling couples on marriage for over 30 years.
How did Fred and Anna Kendall become the trusted counselors for Marcus and Joni Lamb during their marital crisis?
And most of the time, I'm sad to say, most of them are not very transparent.
One might naturally assume that Fred Kendall possessed extensive education and professional training in marriage counseling.
Fred has probably counseled over 10,000.
Yeah,
But
a lot.
that's because he's really old and he's been around a long time.
But as Julie Roys discovered, that was far from the truth.
So here's the interesting thing to me. So Fred Kendall has 0 education, indicating that he should be developing a psychological test or communication test. I looked at his education. He got an associate's degree from the New Mexico Military Institute. That was in military and strategic leadership. He got a BA in psychology from the University of New Mexico.
I don't know that he got the degree or if he just started it.
Well, he said that he got a BA in psychology, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there that he got this from the University of New Mexico. I mean, that's a bachelor's degree. I mean, that's really that doesn't really qualify you to be an expert in something. And then he went for 1 year to the Hastings College of Law in California. That is the full extent of his education. Now, on his LinkedIn, it says 1989 to 1992, he was the president and co-founder of Life Care Therapy Centers. So this is, something he oversaw, but he wasn't doing the therapy. I mean, these were qualified people who were doing the therapy. And he wrote on his profile, it says, each program was a dual diagnosis program treating emotional and mental problems and addictions. Thousands of people from all areas of the U.S. were enrolled in the programs, were helped, healed, and restored. During this time and experience, the concepts of the 7 life languages were developed, tested, and administered. He was managing basically a therapy center, and he develops these 7 life languages. He says they were tested and administered Do you know anything about the testing or the validation of this program?
I wasn't involved with that organization. The way that he told the story was that that's where he did, kind of like the preliminary and the experimentation and seeing how it would work. And he used those people, the patients, to try everything out on. I've never seen any data collected.
But that does not qualify somebody to be a marriage counselor or to counsel or to, even these life languages. I guess I'm wondering what the what the qualification is here. Is there any expert at any level that has verified this program that was developed by somebody with no licensure or anything?
The life languages have never been validated to the best of my knowledge. Now, I left and they're still going on. So if they have achieved that or if they've gotten that since I've been gone, I don't know about it. I've not heard anyone say that that is true, but at the point that I left, it had never been done. And so when there were people coming who wanted to, purchase life languages, that was one of the questions that they would have. Has this been validated? No. The truth is no.
This is the morning after we get back. And
Fred and Anna Kendall's marriage didn't start off smoothly. It was marked by challenges and struggles that tested their relationship early on.
so he wakes me up and it's still dark outside and he has me this list that says 0500. Wake up, have coffee. And he's got the coffee pot plugged in. He's got little rolls heating. And then it says 0515, sex. And then it was like...
Fred resorted to some unconventional tactics to win back his bride, using bold and unexpected methods to rekindle their relationship.
He would take tapes of the Bible and put them up to my bedroom door and play tapes of the Bible all night. We went through the Old Testament and the New Testament, and Derek Prince Deliver Us from Demons.
So y'all were in separate bedrooms?
Yes.
That was a tape recorder. Y'all don't know what that is?
You remember that cassette tapes?
Tape. And he would put it outside your door, and you would open it and turn it off.
Yeah.
And he would come back and turn it on.
And he would turn those tapes over. It was like he was on guard duty.
And they're all laughing. And I get it. It sounds kind of funny when you're listening to the whole thing. But if you have, any understanding of abuse at all and control and intimidation, to me, it's scary what he's describing.
It's torture.
Yeah.
Melanie witnessed these techniques firsthand, both in her professional capacity and in a deeply personal way, as she observed the Kendalls' methods up close.
But we went to this restaurant and the waiter came and asked for our orders, and my ex-husband was trying to be, very polite and gallant. And so he said, Melanie, you order first. And so I told the waiter what I wanted, and he said what his order was. And then the waiter looked at the Kendalls, and Anna started saying what she wanted. And Fred put his hand on her wrist and squeezed lightly, and she stopped talking. And she looked down, and he ordered for them, but he only ordered one entree. And then the waiter left. And I'm just watching this, like, what is happening? And the waiter left, and he said in front of us, now, Anna, you don't need that. We will be sharing one dinner, and that'll be quite enough. He was coaching, counseling, instructing, directing Greg of what he should do to me, with me, about me, as far as the divorce was concerned. And so when I hear the words, when I hear Anna say the words that Fred said, I am not going to reward Anna for the divorce. Those were the exact words. Like Greg would say that to me constantly. I'm not going to reward you for your sin. I'm not going to reward you for your sin. If you want out of this marriage, if you can't be a better wife, I'm not going to reward you. And so he, by Fred's counsel, decided to start emptying the bank accounts. Fred and him decided together how much money I could make with life languages so that I never made enough to be financially independent. And I would depend on Greg for all of, life.
Melanie's marriage to Greg Brondo ended in 2016, And shortly after, she found herself suddenly ghosted by Anna Kendall, who had once been a close confidant. This sudden shift in their relationship left Melanie reeling, especially given the personal and professional ties they had shared.
So a day turned into weeks, turned into months, and I was like calling Fred saying, why in the world will she not return my calls? Do I have a wrong number? Did you change your number? Like, what's going on? And he said, well, you'll have to talk to Anna about that. Well, I would love to talk to Anna about that, except that Anna won't return my calls. What is going on? Can we schedule a meeting at the office? Can we all sit down together? Well, you'll have to talk to Anna about that. And like a script, he never did, really answer the question. And so I still to this day don't know why she decided to not talk to me again, but I literally have never talked to her again, ever.
Wow. So you got ghosted.
I got ghosted before I knew what ghosted was.
Ghosting was.
I'll turn you over to your own reprobate mind.
Yes, exactly. Romans 1.
Melanie appeared on Joni Table Talk multiple times over the years, becoming a regular guest and offering insights that resonated with viewers. Her appearances were a notable part of her connection with Daystar TV, but that relationship eventually came to an abrupt halt.
Rondo, how are you? Oh, wonderful. How are you?
Probably about, I don't know, a few months, 5 or 6 months, something like that after the divorce. I really needed a job and I didn't have one. I needed to support my 3 kids and I just desperately needed help. And so I called Joni and I had no idea why we weren't talking and and it had been a while, but it's not like it had been 10 years or something. And my last conversation with her was not, a bad one. We were still as close as I thought we'd ever been. And so some time had passed, but time had passed for me too, all the excuses that were in my head. Like I've been busy too, and I've been going through all this stuff. So we just haven't connected or, like maybe it's my fault or it was in my head. And so I said, I'm just going to call her and I'm just going to ask because she hires her friends all the time. She hires her friends all the time to do stuff because she's a good friend and they needed her and she did it. And so I called her and we visited for a little bit and we talked about the kids and, her kids, my kids, what everybody was doing and all this stuff. And I asked her for, help. I said, I really need help. I need a job, but I'll come in there as a researcher. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I don't have to be on camera. I don't have to be a singer. Because there were people who were always trying to get on camera and trying to be the singers and and I was like, I don't have to be any of those things. I'll be a researcher. Like I'll be an admin. I'll do anything. I just need an income. And she said, oh, well, you can go through HR just like everybody else. And I was stunned. And I just couldn't believe that she would say that to me and just act like I was nothing to her. And also because I was in such a crisis, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but sometimes it's really hard to swallow your pride and ask for help. And so it was really hard to ask her for help in the first place, but then to be treated like that was really devastating. And I even went further to put in a resume and application, and I got a next day response, not an immediate response, but a next day response saying, based on your resume, we're looking for other qualities. So, basically we're not going to hire you.
Getting kicked to the curb takes a toll on a person's self-esteem. Speaking up can be the first step in regaining your self-worth.
Just you asking the questions and listening sets people free. Because you're talking about a group of people who nobody listened to, nobody believed, and that's why we don't come forward. Is because we know we've already had that experience and we know that we're not going to be received. And so because of the work that you're doing, because you ask the questions and you listen and you let people tell their story, people are getting free. And so thank you for what you're doing. It is so, so important.
Now let's dive straight into Dr. Doug Weiss. What has been his role in the marriage counseling world, and how does his involvement fit into the larger picture? Stay with us as we reveal crucial details about his practices and his connections to the Daystar scandal.
I'm the president of the American Association for Sex Addiction Therapy. I'm the executive director of Heart to Heart Counseling Center. People fly in to Colorado Springs and do intensives 3 or 5 days every week of the year. And so I've been doing this work for over 35 years. I have taken more masturbation porn histories than any man on the planet, bar none. I've been a recovering sex addict for over 35 years, and which means no porn, no masturbation, no sex outside of marriage. Taking a polygraph to prove that.
In this episode of The Many Lies of Doug, we unravel the latest revelation, his connection to the Daystar scandal.
But I can tell you, after years of doing sex right, I am so attached to Lisa's big green eyes, it just blows my mind. I mean, I look at those eyes and I'm thinking, I am coming home tonight. Because I am attached to her eyes, because when we have sex, we maintain eye contact. I am attached to her soul.
What's your favorite things about Lisa?
Oh, she's got the purest heart I've ever met. I mean, it's just, she loves and serves with excellence. Everything she does with excellence. You know, she's an amazing individual, creativity-wise. She's an amazing mom, and she runs our company. You know, we just bought a 20,000 square foot building for a counseling center. That's a lot. She runs it like a home. I mean, people just like her because she's just got this kind of like, how can I help you? Heart. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just easy.
That is so much like my Joni.
Oh, thank you.
We can all have a great sex life. Christ died so we could have great sex.
Doug Weiss, long known for portraying himself as the ultimate marriage counselor, has meticulously crafted an image of perfection, often boasting about having the best wife on earth.
I mess up my wife all the time because I want more sex the rest of my life. And I just really mean it with Lisa. I love her so much. She satisfies my inner being. And these are what she wants to hear. So if you will tell her, you satisfy me, it'll mess her up for at least a week. Well, divorce is it's a no-win for anybody. That's why God doesn't like it. Because what happens is, depending on how well you were in this marriage, you're going to have regret on who you were if you don't have a clear conscience. If you didn't give it the last shot. In my office, Joni, I'm 3 to 4 times a month. Dr. Weiss, this is our last shot. I go, great, because we do pretty good with last shots. Most of them make it.
I guess the butterfly feelings kind of last, I guess, for the first 18 months of maybe a new relationship. Is it because those fade away?
Mine
and you
don't.
get
I got
comfortable,
30 years
or?
and I'm still butterflied as soon as she walks. Seriously.
That's good.
Lisa's my buddy. She's my friend and co-partner in business and everything we do. And I invest in that.
What's your favorite things about Lisa?
Oh, she's got the purest heart I've ever met. I mean, it's just, she loves and serves with excellence. Everything she does with excellence. You know, she's an amazing individual, creativity-wise. She's an amazing mom, and she runs our company. You know, we just bought a 20,000 square foot building for a counseling center. That's a lot. She runs it like a home. I mean, people just like her because she's just got this kind of like, how can I help you? Heart. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just easy.
That is so much like my Joni.
Oh, thank you.
Doug always made his marriage seem like the perfect example. Whenever he spoke about his wife on camera, it was all smiles, praise, and heartfelt stories about how incredible she was. For years, he came across as the guy who had it all together, both in his personal life and as a counselor. But now the truth is out, and it paints a very different picture. The man who preached about commitment couldn't keep his own. What was once seen as the gold standard is now surrounded by controversy. But now that with the leaked audio and his divorce from Lisa, a lot of people, including me, are starting to wonder, was it all just a show? Could all those sweet words and perfect marriage vibes have been a facade designed to make him look like the ultimate expert on love and marriage? Let's be real. If you're running a counseling business, projecting the image of a rock-solid marriage is a great way to get people to trust you and book your sessions. It's hard not to feel a little skeptical now. If Doug's marriage wasn't what he made it out to be, what does that mean for the advice he's been giving? Don't get me wrong, everyone has struggles, but the idea that he might have been using his personal life as a marketing tool to build his brand? That stings. It makes you wonder how much of what we saw was genuine and how much was just good PR. The divorce doesn't just raise eyebrows, it raises questions. Can someone really guide others in their relationships when their own is falling apart? Or was the business of looking perfect more important than being real? Honestly, it's tough to watch someone you thought had the answer suddenly seem like they don't have it all together after all. In the many leaked audio clips that have surfaced, Doug has shifted the narrative, making it seem like his marriage to Lisa was less of a partnership and more of an obstacle to his career. It's almost like he's rewriting history, painting himself as someone who had to endure the marriage all those years, rather than celebrate it as the blessing he once claimed it to be. One particular audio stands out, and I'm going to play it for you shortly, where Doug reveals something shocking. He claims that there was a show he had always wanted to create, but according to him, God had restricted him from pursuing it while he was still married. Doug says that God told him, "I will fund it." He implies that the moment he filed for divorce, God miraculously provided the funding through people who showed up out of nowhere.
When I was going through the divorce process, I already filed for divorce. Now for 20 plus years, I wanted to do a show on Daystar, okay? And the Lord said, "Don't you fund it. I'm gonna do it." I'm like, okay. So that went on for years. And after I filed, I had a guy give me $400,000. Then about a week and a half later, someone gave me $250,000 out of the blue. So I'm like, okay, Lord. So we're working still in the filing process and not knowing what's going to happen. Well, you know, that's a miracle. Okay, you don't get $650,000 out of the air. That's a miracle.
It's a bold claim, to say the least. Doug essentially frames the timing of his divorce as part of some divine plan, as if breaking up his marriage was the key to unlocking his career goals. But let's be real for a second. How does that add up? Does God really bless actions that go against the very covenant of marriage Doug spent years preaching about? It feels like he's using God to justify a decision that has left many people, especially those who looked up to him, feeling confused and betrayed. And honestly, it's heartbreaking to hear Joni speak so poorly of Lisa now. Let's not forget, Lisa wasn't just Doug's wife. She was also a part of Daystar. She appeared on the network, shared her perspective, and was part of the image Doug built as the perfect counselor with the perfect marriage.
What you didn't.
I have a phenomenal wife, but I know there's some really stinky ones out there, okay? I know Lisa thinks I'm amazing, okay? And I think she's...
Despite all the times Doug went on camera proclaiming his love for Lisa, it seems that those words didn't hold the truth they were meant to carry. This is a lesson for all of us, not to be swayed by fancy talk, emotional declarations, or polished public personas. It's easy to get caught up in the charm of someone who knows how to speak well, especially when they sprinkle their words with spiritual language. But the reality is, actions always speak louder than words. The danger of deceptions in the media. In today's world, media platforms allow anyone with charisma and a message to reach millions, but not all messages come from a place of sincerity. Some leaders use their platforms to build a facade, saying what people want to hear while living a completely different reality behind the scenes. It's no surprise that Doug's glowing words about Lisa now ring hollow, given the abruptness of his actions. What looked like admiration on the outside was, perhaps, nothing more than a carefully constructed narrative to maintain an image. This is a dangerous trend in Christian circles and beyond. People see what's presented to them on stage or online and assume it reflects the whole truth. But what's hidden off camera often tells a very different story. This isn't just about Doug or Lisa. It's a broader issue of deception, especially when those claiming to represent God use their influence for personal gain or to manipulate others. The truth has finally come out, shattering the picture-perfect image Doug created. His actions now speak louder than the words he once used to glorify his marriage. What seemed like devotion was, in reality, just another performance. The mask has slipped, revealing the hypocrisy behind the carefully crafted image. This is a wake-up call. It's time to look beyond the stage and see what's really happening behind the scenes. False teachers and wolves in sheep's clothing. Scripture warns us about false teachers, those who appear to have good intentions but lead others astray with their actions and teachings. Matthew 7:15 puts it plainly, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves." Doug's story serves as a reminder of this warning. When leaders preach one thing but live another, they undermine the faith of their followers and damage the message of the gospel. It's critical to hold leaders accountable. A good speaker doesn't automatically mean a good heart. A public show of affection doesn't guarantee private integrity. As believers, we must test what we hear against God's word and observe whether actions align with what is being taught. Fancy talk and emotional appeals can be powerful tools of deception if we're not discerning. Thank you for watching and taking the time to seek the truth. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Stay informed and don't be misled by deception in the media. For more eye-opening discussions and deeper insights, make sure to subscribe to Faith Unfiltered. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.